My name is Iba Mwenda, and I work with Directorfilmz Photography. So I and the team have come up with different topics of discussion that we are going to be presenting to you on our different social media pages. But for starters, I'd love to wish our Muslim friends a happy Holy Ramadan this whole month. Today's topic of discussion is going to be about how best you can choose a good professional photography company. So what are the different guidelines that we need to consider when we are choosing a very good photographer? What are those procedures? What are those criteria that we need to follow? First of all, you need to consider the venue of your function before you choose your photographer. That's right. The venue of your function is important is because we all have different desires, yeah, as clients. We all have different desires. We all have different wants for our particular event. So personally, I'll give an example. I love nature. I love gardens. I love ocean. I love outdoor events. So if I'm to carry out my function, I'll basically put it either outside, either the gardens or at the ocean, depending on what I would want, yeah? So if you need something artistic, if you need something more of nature, you basically choose the gardens. So depending on what you really want as a client is what you really have to go for. So if you need something indoor, you'll have to go for either a hotel indoor or anything that you really want, any particular venue that you would really want to come to before you go for that particular professional photographer. That drives me to the next point of the style of your photographer, yeah? So your photography should actually match the photographer that you're really going to be choosing on. So after looking at all this, you basically, later on after you've gotten your photographer, you will have to bring your photographer to this particular place, and then they view this place, this particular venue. So step number 2 is what I talked about, the style of photography. Yeah, you need to relate your venue to the style of the photographer that you're going to choose. Step number 3, you need to consider different social network recommendations. Now here, we all have different friends, we have families who have gone through these functions, we have friends who have gotten married, we have friends who have had birthday events, we have friends who have really had photographers come to their companies, yeah? So when you call or either communicate to your different social networks, be it friends or families, and they give you recommendations, what you do as a client, you gather these recommendations. When you gather them, you then set appointments. Either appointments, it could either be through social media. You know, these days social media is the easiest way of communication. So it can be either through social media, or it can be physical interactions or physical meetings, whatever you decide to really work on, whatever will be beneficial for the both of you. When you compare and contrast, you have to relate to the venue, you have to relate to the style of the photographer, you need to relate. So every step goes hand in hand. Step number 4. Step number 4 is where we discuss. So we've gotten your venue, you've gotten your style, the style of photographer that you need, the style of photography that you need as you as a client. Then you've gotten the social network recommendations from the different friends and relatives. And now what do we do next? You've compared and contrasted all the available options that you have. And now you've come up with one particular photography company. What next? This is where you discuss the packages that the company is willing to offer to you, depending on how much you as a client can afford. So if the company offers to you their packages of, for example, they have packages of maybe 1 million shillings, they have packages of 500,000 shillings, they have packages of 4 million shillings. What is in this package? What is in this package? What is the breakdown of this package? How many photographers are going to come to your function? If your budget is, for example, 1 million shillings, what am I going to get in this 1 million function that is relatable to what I need? For instance, if I need 2 photographers in my function, or I need 2 videographers in my function, what am I supposed to do? So this is where you and the company negotiate, come to a conclusion. Yeah, terms and conditions. You set, or you talk about the fees. You talk about the packages. You talk about the mode of delivery. How are my products? How is my function? How are my photos? How are my photos going to reach to me, the client? Is it going to be hard copy? Is it going to be Is it going to be Google Drive? Is it going to be soft copy work, or depending? So the client can either tell you we can give you hard copy and soft copy work, or we can only give you hard copy work, hard copy photos or videos, depending on what you really want. So you can decide. You can say, no, I don't really need hard copies, but I only need soft copy work. So you and the company can really come to a conclusion on that. Step number 5. After you discussing and coming to terms and conclusion, this is where you sign the contract. You and the company come up and sign a contract, and then break down everything on your contract. Let the company be clear on what they are going to provide to you and what you're also going to receive as the client. That brings us to our final step. And our final step or guideline is schedule a test run. Schedule a test run with this company, with this particular company that you've chosen, with this photographer, with this particular photographer that you've chosen. Schedule up a test run. For instance, if you have a wedding, there's always an option of a photo shoot. Schedule this photo shoot, let the photographer come and take you some photos that you really, and then you can compare from that as well. So those are our 6 guidelines or steps on how best you can choose your good photographer, your professional photographer. Never forget, build a relationship with this photographer. After going through all this, make sure you build a good relationship with this photographer, because this is, like I told you earlier on, the main keyword was memorable or durable. So a good relationship with your photographer is key. So make sure you have a good relationship, build a rapport with this photographer, with this photography company. So that is all from me and Directorfilmz team. Thank you so much for listening to us, and I would really request us to follow us on our different social media platforms. Directorfilmz for Facebook, Directorfilmz for Instagram, Directorfilmz for Twitter, and all the other different social media pages. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a blessed moment. Bye.